Okay, here we go with part 2 for the lower portion of our poppy. Now, I know this can be somewhat confusing, and if you're working from someone else's reference photo and you haven't seen the actual poppy, or for me, I had a consistent interest in these poppies, and so I had painted them quite a bit, and I got a nice little understanding of how the intertwines of all the stems, how to paint them. I think one of the most confusing things for me when I was learning was that I thought I had to paint every single stem. And then I soon discovered that I could actually paint a suggestion and put in, keep some of the lights and darks and have fun that way. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through this a little bit more. Now, on part 1, we talked about putting in the stems, and I know that it's just glossed over in the video, so I want to give you a few more pointers on this, okay? Because I don't want you to do as I have done in the past, and that would be painting every single item that I saw. Now, again, I added a few more stems over here. Oops. And you can actually, have another one crisscrossing right back over it once it's dried. And, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead. I didn't mean to do that, but look I'm just going to make up my mistake there, putting the brush on there. I was looking at the monitor. Here we go. And so you can just go ahead and, put a little bit more green in there. And that's going to be a shadow eventually. Okay, so I want to show you my palette and how I set myself up for success for a background. And I'm going to tilt the monitor down a little bit. Okay, let's see. And bring the palette up. Let's see. I don't want it to spill, so obviously. So I've got a ton of brushes ready to go. So, so I have a lot of greens already pre-mixed in my palette. And I have, my pigments ready to go. And then I have a lot of brushes. I like using the flat brushes. If you choose to use round, that's fine too. And sometimes I really like, what comes in handy is when you use one of these brushes that are, I guess they call it a filbert tip. It's a little rounder because you can get in there and get some of the movements of the leaves properly. So, don't feel like you have to stick with one brush. You can use many brushes, as many as you like, and have them ready to go and just drop them in. And you'll find that comfort level of what brush works best for you. Just because I'm using flat doesn't mean you have to use a flat. Okay, so I'm building up the, I'm going to have this stem in front, right? And so I'm going to come into the back of this and just knock in a little bit of green right there. And if you want to go darker, just drop in a darker green right next to it and let it bleed together. Okay, and let it move about. I always loved actually, dropping in a ton of color within my background and just letting the pigment and the water do the work for me, so I'll have a little bit more of a variety. Now, when you first start, it's going to look very dark because you don't have all the components in, but we'll get there. And so what I'd like to do on this demo is just bring you into a comfort level of where you feel comfortable doing this, because for me, I just made this up as I went along when I first started painting poppies, and it worked. Somehow I made it work. I wanted it to work, and I made it work. And you might not want, you might find a better way for you how to do a background, but this is a good way to, good place to jump off at. Okay, because backgrounds are one of those things that I find students are always, I don't know, a little nervous about getting in there and painting it in. Do you see I'm just putting in some odd shapes now? And I'm really not even looking at the reference photo. I guess we could take another peek at it and see what's going on in there. Leave some of the lights and just If you're not comfortable with this few stems, go ahead and you can continue painting your stems in. And I'm going to get a little bit of a bigger brush. This is my 1/2 inch flat. It's the Robert Simmons one stroke brush. And I'm going to go in with a little bit of a darker value here. And here comes some stems. And you can use this flat brush to your benefit if you keep it at the same angle and just let it, and then move your hand, you know, or move the brush and not so much your hand. So let me get in here because it's kind of awkward where I'm standing. Here it comes. So we can come up, 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 and then stop. And then you find another one where you want to start and stop. Okay, and yeah, there you go. But that's a little too light for if it's going to be behind this guy. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop in some more darks right there. And you know, I'm going to start detailing out some of the stems that I've already painted in. Okay, and then you can come over here, drop a little yellow in if you want. Continue that on. And so on and so forth. So this is like the beginning for you to get, you know what, I'm just going to cover this whole one up and just leave some light there. Just go ahead and bring in more stems. Now, these little pod things are really fun to paint. So I painted one here, and here's another one with just one coat of like a yellow green, and you can come over here, and I'm going to start knocking in one side of it so it has a darker side, and then I'm just going to leave that alone. So you can see where I'm building up my glazes here for these pods. And you can finish that off like so, and then bring the stem on around. See how my brush just carries it on up, 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 and around and back down. And you might want to take out an extra piece of paper, watercolor paper, and practice those strokes until you feel comfortable, and then approach your background. It's well worth the time and energy, I promise you, because once you get the rhythm and the feeling of how to, this will benefit you throughout any painting that you work on. Okay, and so we're gonna have, you know, we can have some shadows here and just drop that in. Okay, now on the video I showed you more like how to get these areas rich and dark without the stems. Okay, so let's try a little bit of that. And that I'm going to take, I can take some yellow here, you know, a lighter value. And I'm going to have another brush ready to go with some deeper, darker colors, right straight from the area where I have my pigments mixed up. Okay. Let's see. I'm getting some. Okay, I'm getting some Winsor blue on my brush, so it's that dark, okay? And you can get that ready, you can get some yellows, some oranges ready. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to drop in a light, you know, one of the lighter values of yellow. Well, yeah, it's a lime green I'm going to drop in here. Okay, so here we go. Round and round and round. Okay, right around. Now, isn't that pretty? That's like this, it's almost like a green gold. There's a color that Winsor Newton has. It's called green gold. Very expensive paint. But this one's just yellow and the Winsor green. So you can get this with the transparent yellow and Winsor green. Okay, now it's nice and wet, right? So I can go in there with my dark green and just, I'm going to drop that in. Let it float, you know, just let it float, float, float. Don't try, just let the colors mingle all by themselves. You can't, it's one of those things that let the pigments do the work. And now I'm dropping in a little burnt sienna right there. And then you can drop in a little bit more yellow right up in here, you know, okay. And then you can come on back down to your green. Okay, and you can also take, I'm going to take just blue. I'm going to show you. I know it seems kind of garish and kind of crazy, but here, look, I'm putting the blue down now, right over that green, and then maybe just drop a little bit more over here so you can see the blue. And then you can, once you have a blue on that side, you want to pull it on through, okay? So that will read like so. And so now you can see there's a kind of a pattern that's starting, and you let that dry, and then once it dries, if you want to take the pattern and then glaze back over it, you can. I think this is a really fun way of doing a background and finding depth, and you're using your wet into wet technique, and it doesn't seem like it, but you know, getting it the beginning of a wet to wet technique with a lighter green, and then dropping in your darker green right here, or that one has red on it, so I'm fine with that. And then I'm going to go back in and get a nice deep dark green right up in here, and see, boom, right there, right there. And as I bring it up, getting closer to the top, you can either go darker or go lighter, but you want to switch your value before, you know, you don't want it all one solid dark, you know, and crazy jungle. You want to give a resting point in this background too. Took me years to figure that one out. I always thought the more the better, but actually you do need some place for the eye to rest. And you know, and also you can always go back in and add more if you feel like you need to. Okay, there's a little more green, and of course my painting is you know, straight up and down. So don't when you're working in the flat area, you know, with it flat, you'll have a little bit more luck than the drippiness that I'm getting here. Okay, so there you have it. That's, you know, the beginning of getting your background put in, and you just keep working around, and you know, if you want to, you can just jump around and leave it for a little bit, and then make a decision to go move ahead. I don't want you to feel like you have to do this all in one, you know, setting. I'm going to go ahead and cover that up. Do you see that? I'm going to glaze right back over that stem. There's a stem right back there. You go like this and just glaze right back over it. And you could still go in and drop in a little bit more color somewhere if you like. And more greens back there. And just let them float. And believe it or not, when you stand back, it looks like it looks good. It looks like there's lots of movement and lots of depth going on in the background. So, you know, keep this portion of your background moving, and play with it. Don't be nervous about it. It's fine, you know, because you can always. I did one once that was a little too busy, and once it dried, what I did was I glazed back over it. Like for instance, over here, I'll show you how that would look. If that was too busy, you know, right over in here, you could take a phthalo blue. And I'll show you. It's the phthalo blue isn't, you know, it could be that dark, or you can lighten it and make it a little bit lighter. Right here. Okay, so that phthalo blue can actually work in your favor right here. And this is how you can also do a few shadows over your stem. And you kind of, this phthalo blue, and once you glaze it over, not everywhere, but in some areas, it evens it all out. It unifies all the funny shapes that you got going on. If that's what you want to do, if you like the whole busyness of it, that's fine too. But do you see how right there, thinking that it's still wet, and you can't see it on the monitor just yet because it's kind of glossy. But this is representing, you know, some of the highlights that are going on here. Let me see if I can turn this so that the light's hitting it. There you go. That's better. So you can see right here where it's shadow and light moving through it. And you can come over here and go whoop. You know, go ahead and add some more darks and lights. If you want to glaze right over that, if it's too much, that's when you can knock things back. Okay. So I posted the background with the blue background, the sky blue background, and if you choose to do that, that's fine. If you have a background that you're not happy with and you want to, you know, we're going to talk about that during the critique. I could show you how to go back in and touch up some of these areas and then redefine them with your negative shapes. And it's really, you know, it's very easy. I learned that when one of my favorite artists when I was learning how to paint florals is Jan Koons, and she is the master of these negative shapes that you can create in your background. Again, I'm going to turn this a little bit so you can see, yeah, so that because the light's hitting it because it's still wet and it's kind of shiny. But yeah, she was my all-time hero. I loved her work, and I still love her work because she's still painting. But she does these wonderful little cutouts of the negative shapes to create. She does the poppy. She has a few poppy paintings as well, and so I just followed what she was showing me. So see, there you go. I just reshaped some of this area right here. And so if it, if you let your background dry, you stand back, take a look, because you want to stand away from your painting, of course, when you're observing your shapes and values. And close up, pretty soon close up's just not going to make it when you just have to stand back. Sometimes looking at it through a mirror, upside down, you'll always get a new perspective on everything. So there you have it. That's part 2 of the background. And there's more background info posted on YouTube. And all you have to do is put in Joyce Faulkner, Icelandic Poppy, and all of them. You know what? I'm just going to cover that one up too. And all of the videos that I've posted in the past 6 months or so will be there. So there's a lot of information that is out there for you for this particular lesson. And, just email me if you're having troubles, and I'll see what I can do, what other demos I can give you to help you finish this. So no hurry, have fun with it, and just enjoy the painting process. Okay, see you later. Talk to you later.